What I'd like you to do, Eric, is just take your mind back to that evening of the assault and just tell us what happened.
This party, I had a few beers before I got there, and then there's a bottle of whiskey at the party, so I started on the whiskies. Everyone was pissed though, so even Jim was pretty pissed in the end as well. So
you're saying that you were pissed and everybody was pissed at the party, but how many people at the party got charged with assault?
Yeah, just me, but it was a fight, but it was just a stupid thing just going over the top. I mean, if I hadn't tackled him and he hadn't broken his arm, I don't know that it would have gone so far, because otherwise it was nothing that would pretty much that you don't get in a rugby game,
So you're saying it's okay?
No, it's not okay. I shouldn't have known it off. It was just sort of crossing a line. I mean, he's had a go at me before. We've in the past. He's bailed me up against the wall about something or other, and it's just I just took it just a little bit far.
Okay, Eric, but you're the person that's been charged with assault here.
Yeah.
So whose behaviour is it that we need to look at here?
Well, mine, yeah.
Okay. And what is it about your behaviour?
Well, basically I think it's that the trouble starts when I go onto the whiskies. I'm fine on the beers, just, cruisy, cool lads, having a good time. But if I, start having the whiskies, I just get like the fire in my blood, and I've got to move or dance, or, it's just the wrong place at the wrong time and the wrong moment for me in the night. So,
what sort of mood were you in?
Oh, it was pretty dark, because I seen my ex-girlfriend. Yeah, she's with this new bloke, and they were all sort of arm in arm, and looking like a married couple, and stuck in my head. Or that's when I went home and started having a couple of beers, thinking about this party. I wasn't expecting it to affect me like it did, but it kind of cut me,
Mm-hmm. So how come Jim? How come Jim got all of this? The assault that he got?
Well, because we used to be mates, and but when I broke up with Angela, he kind of took her side, and so we haven't really been mates properly since then. Mm-hmm. I kind of wanted to talk to him about it, but he just wasn't having anything to do with me. He's kind of pretending not to see me and stuff, and I was like, oh, you too, turn on me. So, yeah, so he copped it.
So you made a conscious choice to land your fist into him?
Yeah, probably not fully conscious, but yeah.
So you were the one that did it though, weren't you? So who else can you blame? How do you think you could convince Jim and Sally that you're really sorry about what's happened?
Well, I figured that's what the meeting was for. Just, go into that.
Is there anything that you in particular could do?
I think I need to kind of, not just lay off the whiskies and, let him know that that's kind of out the window. I don't know if that make much difference to him, but,
Tony, you're sitting really quietly there, and I'm just wondering what's happening for you.
Yeah, I just think him even talking about making a few changes in his drinking habits, just, that's a pretty big step, I think, yeah.
You mentioned about the fact that you know Jim and Sally as well. How is that for you, coming as a support person for Eric into the meeting in that situation?
Honestly, it's not a position I'd like to be in. I don't really want to wave a flag on either side of the fence, but which doesn't mean I'm not there to support Jim or Sally, but I don't want to make it a us-them.
Yeah.
As I said, just being there for you, really, so. But, yeah, so I don't know how I can help this situation, but
you know, it's really great to help him and support him, but ultimately we need to end up with a situation where Eric is making the decision about what he does and what he doesn't do. One of the things that we look at in the meeting is how can we put things right? So it's about putting things right for the victim, and it may require that there are some things that you need to do to make them feel better about what's happened. Okay?
Okay.
Great. Well, I'd really like to thank you both for being really open with me. And I'll know tomorrow, I'm going to see Jim and Sally tomorrow, and you do understand that the meeting will go ahead only if they want it to go ahead, because it is a voluntary process. So it is important for you to understand that. But I will certainly get in touch with you as soon as I know from them whether they're interested in a meeting. Okay, so I'll give you a phone call and just touch base with you, and then we can discuss when the meeting can take place and where. Okay? Great. Well, thanks very much to both of you, and I hope we'll see you in a meeting.
Cheers. Kia ora, Jim speaking.
Kia ora, Jim. My name's Tricia Hurd, and I'm a facilitator with Restorative Justice. I'm ringing you about the assault that you received from Eric. I was just wondering how you are now.
I guess I'm fine. I'm in a sling. I'm just at the doctor's now, but apart from that, I'm fine. Yeah, is this a courtesy how you are call?
No, it's not actually, Jim. I was wanting to meet with you and your partner, if that's possible, to talk about what's happened to you and the possibility of us meeting together to for a restorative justice meeting.
So what's restorative justice?
Restorative justice is an opportunity for you to get together with Eric and to actually talk about what's happened and see if there's some things that can be sorted out that would help you to move on from there.
So what? Eric comes to my house tomorrow?
No, that's why I'd like to meet up with you and your partner, just the two of you, and we can talk through in a lot more detail what restorative justice is about and whether it's something that you would want to be involved in.
And then we meet up with Eric?
That's a possibility, yes. But that's what the restorative justice process would involve, yes.
Okay, I guess...
So would you be happy to meet up with me and at least talk about that?
Yeah, okay, yep.
That'd be great. Now, I've got a gap in my diary tomorrow, so how are you placed tomorrow morning?
Yeah, I guess it's fine. I'm not doing anything, I'm not working at the moment.
Okay, so what time in the morning would suit you?
10:30, maybe? 10:30?
10:30? Well, I'll see you tomorrow then at 10:30 at your place.
Right, and it's Trish, isn't it?
That's right, it's Trish.
Okay, well, thank you, Trish.
Okay, look, I look forward to seeing you tomorrow then.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Sally and Jim, it's really good to meet you, and thank you for letting me come and explain to you what restorative justice is about. Basically, it involves a meeting between hopefully yourselves and Eric and possibly his support person plus a few other people. And the purpose of the meeting is to talk about the assault that you received, Jim, and to talk about what happened, how you felt about it, how it's affected you, and also to look at how the matter can be put right. So that's just in a nutshell really what restorative justice is sort of aiming to achieve. But what I'd like to do now is I'd really like you, Jim, to just tell me what happened that evening that you went out.
As we were drinking and he tackled me and I hit the concrete and I made it clear that I didn't really want to be a part of his little whatever he was up to. And I smashed my face on the ground and my elbow. Well, I can't use my elbow now, so.
He broke it. He actually broke it when it was like he was trying to defend himself. He was just trying to put his arm down to stop his head getting smashed down. It's probably good that he did. Yeah. So it could have been worse.
Okay, Jim. So can you just tell me a little bit more about the injuries that you sustained?
Well, obviously I broke my elbow. I couldn't move it. Can't use my arm to go to work.
They can't hold the baby and stuff either, and like it's really not operational right now.
So you're not able to go to work, and how long have you not been able to go to work for?
A while now.
Too long.
Too long. You know, it's not like I don't like not going to work. And it's not like I asked for this kind of thing to happen.
He wants to work, eh? Like he's a good worker, and we had this plan, you know, with supporting the baby and everything, and it's really frustrating that he can't work.
Right. So is that one thing that's quite a major issue for you?
Oh yeah, well,
Totally.
I just got a baby.
Yeah.
That's put heaps of pressure on us.
Right. Who else has this affected, Jim?
Sally. Kate. Baby. I don't know, especially Sally. I guess I get a little bit moody around the house if I can't do anything.
Right.
And your family, eh? Like Jim's family, sort of like live like not that close by, but we've had to use them heaps to, you know, kind of help us out and stuff. And I don't know. I don't feel really comfortable about doing that all the time. I don't think Jim really likes that either, because I guess it makes us feel dependent, eh? And that's not a situation that either of us want to be in.
Right. And Jim, you've known Eric for some time?
Well, Eric's an old friend. We used to play rugby together.
They used to be good mates, like way back. But Eric, he's a hard case, eh? He's really into the drinking, and it's been a problem for a while.
If you were to meet Eric, are there some questions or some things that you would want to say to him?
What happens to him? You know, I'd like to see him in this situation, I guess. You know, it might have been fun and games to him, but it's really affected the way that we live now.
Right.
You know what? What's he got to say for himself? He's probably still running around. I can't even lift a beer with my hand. Bet you he can.
So would you like to hear what he's got to say for himself?
What's it going to do? Is it going to make my arm better? Is he going to give me some money?
It might make you, like, it might make you feel better, like you could get some shit off your chest.
Well, what happens to him? Or does he get to not deal with the consequences just because we talk about it?
My experience is that it's when people have come through the experience, they feel that it has been worthwhile. And that often there's a lightness that comes for people, and a sense in which they can move on and put some of the issues that have been bugging them behind them. Perhaps if I tell you a little bit more about the actual meeting process itself.
So if we talk and maybe if we come to some agreement, maybe it doesn't go to court.
No,
Yeah?
he definitely has to go back to court for sentencing. Yes, that is a given. This process has no impact on whether he gets sentenced or not.
So he's not like doing it just to kind of get out of taking responsibility.
Well, often this process is about taking responsibility.
Right.
It's a way in which the offender is taking responsibility for what's happened. Yeah.
So I mean, like, it would be good to get Eric to kind of face up to stuff, eh? Because that's something he doesn't do usually. Like, I'm surprised he even said he would do it, eh?
Has Eric kind of shown any remorse, or not that I really care?
I think Eric does have a genuine sense of regret about what he's done, and he's certainly indicating that he wants to accept some responsibility for what's happened, and is prepared to meet with you to talk about that. I think because he knows you, it would be really easy for him to back away, because I think sometimes when you know the person, it's a lot more difficult really to have to face up to them.
Yeah, well, it seems like an easy way out for him, you know?
In what way do you think it's an easy way?
Well, if he wants to deal with some responsibility by going through this la-di-da, kind of process.
You need to remember that this is a voluntary process, Jim. There is no pressure on you to be involved in this process. But my experience is that there certainly are benefits for people in your situation and being involved in the process and being able to say directly to Eric how this has impacted on you.
You know, I'm not only physically hurt, but, you know.
It's been depressed, eh? It's been kind of down.
Yeah. So you've been affected emotionally as well. Jim, you have a unique opportunity because you are actually the only person who can really tell Eric how this has impacted on you. Sally can talk about for herself, but I can't communicate that to Eric with the power that you can. And I think that is a very powerful way in which you can hold Eric to account for what he's done. And believe me, it may seem like an easy process for an offender, but it's not an easy process. In many respects, it's much more difficult than having to front up in court and hide behind the skirt of a solicitor and be sentenced by a judge, because he's having to eyeball you and he's having to hear about your pain and the difficulty that you have been experiencing. Jim, you were coming up with some ideas as possible outcomes that could be built into the meeting outcome. You've mentioned there, I think you mentioned about the alcohol and you mentioned about the reparation, and if you wanted that to be part of the outcome, you really need to sit down and think about how much you're actually talking about. It can be a bit of a tricky thing in a meeting, but I think you need to be realistic about what your costs have been, what your out-of-pocket costs have been, and it would certainly be helpful if you could actually come along to the meeting having done some preparation about that. So that's certainly one thing, and you may come up with some other ideas as well. And it's something that we discuss as the whole meeting. Eric has input into that as well, and I've actually asked Eric to think about what he thinks he needs to do to put things right. So he may well come along with some ideas himself. And it's something that we decide as a group what the outcomes are going to be. That's written into the report. Part of my role is actually to follow up to see that those things are happening, and also to report back to the judge anything that Eric has done by the time he goes back to court for sentencing. So that there is some sort of accountability that happens there, and the judge knows exactly where things are at the time of sentencing in regard to the things that Eric's undertaken to do. Jim, I'm wondering how you're feeling now. You've been mulling over the fact of whether you want to be involved in the process or not. Is it something that you feel you'd like to commit yourself to?
How are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
So Jim, there seems to be a bit of a question there for you still about whether you want to attend. Can you just explain that?
Just imagine that whole seeing him seeing me.
Yes.
And we're not there. There's no unspokenness anymore, you know. It's got to be all out on the table. It's a little bit
scary. Part of my role, Jim and Sally, is to ensure that the process is safe, is to ensure that a situation doesn't develop where any of the parties feel like the situation's getting out of control. And you have got the power, if at any stage you feel uncomfortable or you want the process to stop, you have got the power for that to happen, because it is voluntary. So if that was needed, and I've never been in a meeting where that's been necessary, but certainly that is an important part of my role, to ensure that you do feel safe in the process. Yeah. So what do you think, Jim? Is it something that you'd like to commit to?
Yeah.
You would? Great. Yeah. It would be helpful if you could just maybe identify why you'd like to come along. If you've got some sort of reasons as to why you'd like to come to the meeting. What is it that would drive you to come?
Sally? No, well, she's not making me come. It's not.
I always drive a big
bulldozer, Sally.
It's about more, you know, I want to get this. We need to get past this.
Kia ora and welcome to all this afternoon. We'd like to begin the meeting with a karakia, and Kiri is going to lead us in the karakia. Thanks.
Kia ora mai ki tātou, e hui hui mai nei tēnei, wā he karakia tēnei. E te atua, whakatūwhera tēra mai kia mātou.
I'd like to start off first of all by just going around the room and asking each person to just briefly introduce themselves, just saying who they are. Just to remind you, my name is Tricia and I'm the facilitator. And it is my responsibility to see that we get through the meeting successfully. That's good.
I'm Jim.
That's great, thanks Jim.
I'm Jim's partner, Sally.
Kia ora, I'm Kiri and I'm one of the community panel members.
Hello Trish, I'm Tim and I'm a local businessman. I'm one of the panel members.
Kia ora everybody, I'm Sergeant Luke Crawford from the local police.
Kia ora, I'm Tony. I'm a friend of Eric, Jim and Sally.
And I'm Eric, and I'm the reason we're all here today.
Great, thank you all. Our meeting today, as I've explained to you in the pre-conference meetings, is to focus particularly on the charge of assault against Eric. And we're going to be exploring how people have been affected by that, how this has affected people, ways of repairing the harm, and hopefully people can move on from here feeling like there's been some closure. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Luke if he could actually read out the summary of facts.
At approximately 10 p.m. on Friday the 20th of January 2007, Eric James Fancourt, the defendant in this matter, went to a party at a friend's house.
What I'd like you to do now, Eric, is just go back in your mind to that incident and just tell us what happened.
Well, I mean, obviously it was really stupid. I got way too pissed and it just sort of pushed me over the line, and which happens, and I just kind of snapped.
Would you drink that much very often?
And yeah, at a party, you know, everyone was pretty pissed.
Can I ask you again, do you drink that much very often?
Probably every weekend.
Just in the weekend?
Might have a couple of beers after work during the week, but you know, I only get into trouble when I drink whiskey, when I get on the spirits.
So is that what alcohol does to you? Are you likely to get into fights?
Might not believe me, but it's a whiskey thing, you know. That's where the problem lies, I think, and you know, something I need to knock on the head. Yeah.
Sally, I'm noticing that something's happening for you. Can you put a voice to that for us?
Well, yeah, well, he's just, you know, he keeps just blaming the alcohol, blaming the whiskey, blaming the beer, whatever, you know. He's not going, this was me, I did this, you know, and that's frustrating because, you know, I guess I just want to see him, like, taking responsibility for it. It was him, you know. The whiskey didn't jump up and dump Jim on his head, you did.
You got to do something about your drinking, bro. You got to do something. You got to realise what you do to people. You know that?
I do realise.
Do you realise?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
You realise, but people have said this to you before. Like, how many times?
You realise we've said that to you for years?
You can't just
You're
say
an
I
arsehole. Well, see, even now we're talking now, I'm not even convinced that you're going to change your life. Are you going to change?
You said you were going to do something about it. Like, what are you going to do?
I'm going to knock it on the head. I'm going to...
Hey, you knocked him on the head. That's why we're all here. What are you going to do about it?
I want to not be this guy anymore. I want to not be the asshole that everyone knows is an asshole that always causes problems at every party and always everyone's rolling their eyes at 11 o'clock at night. I don't want to be that guy anymore.
Jim, I'd like to give you a chance now to actually tell Eric how this assault has actually impacted on you.
There's a lot of things that I can't do now that I used to be able to do. I can't go to work. I haven't been able to do that for a while now. I guess I get quite depressed. I take it out on Sal. I just don't like being like this, you know. I'm not this kind of person. And from a stupid thing that he does, it's affected a lot of people. You know, I've got a lot of emotions going around. I can't pinpoint how exactly my sorest point.
Sally, what's been the hardest thing for you?
I mean, you know, there's a lot of extra stuff that I've had to take on, but the hardest thing for me is him being down. You know, it's like affected his spirit and upset him on such a deep level, and I don't like seeing him like that.
We've just had a baby. I can't change her nappies. I can't help Sally out. I can't even do the dishes when the baby's crying. And Sally's got to change Katie as well. I can't put her to bed. I can't pick her up out of bed. There's a lot of things I can't do anymore because of your stupid act. Because you thought I wasn't paying attention to you. What a lonely, 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 lonely man.
Eric, you're starting to hear something of what Jim and Sally are saying here about how this has impacted on them. I'd like you to respond to that.
I never thought, I totally didn't think about like consequences or anything. I hate that this is still affecting you. I mean, you know, I might have to go away for this, and that's nothing. You know, that's my own fault. You guys have got every day got to. I just can't. I sort of just don't understand how I'm so stupid. I've just been nothing but trouble to you, and I don't know how I can, but if there's anything that I can do for you, anything at all, anything.
Thank you, bro.
It's good to hear you say that, eh?
Yeah.
Eric, you're acknowledging that you've got a problem with alcohol. I'm wondering whether you've thought about anything in particular that you can do about that.
Well, I talked to Tony and that about maybe AA or something, but I don't really know what they all are and how they work and stuff, and what one I should do.
We know of community-based programs that can help you with your drinking, that address stopping violence, because those are two issues that I've been listening to today that have affected your relationships with your wider whānau.
This is a fantastic program in regards to stopping violence, and I've seen great successes come from it over the years, so it is one that I do recommend.
So, Eric, we've got you prepared now to attend a stopping violence program and looking at the issues of your alcohol abuse. I'm thinking that there are probably still some issues that are outstanding, and I'd like to ask Sally and Jim. I know that they've got some out-of-pocket expenses, Eric, and I think we need to talk about those. So, Sally and Jim, have you had a think about this? And perhaps you can tell us what's in particular have been the sorts of things, the extra costs for you.
Yeah.
We talked about it, eh?
Yeah. As you know, I'm on ACC because I can't work. So I'm losing 20% of my wage.
But also, because, you know, he hasn't been able to use his arm, so, you know, we've had someone in to, like, be mowing the lawns, and
Taxis, I can't drive.
we've had home help stuff, a bit of home help, because I need a hand, like, with the baby around the home and stuff, so that, you know, like, we try and keep that minimum, but it adds up, eh? Just to do basic things like, you know, vacuuming, sometimes dishes and that sort of thing, because I can't do it all with Katie.
So we're about 20 weeks out from when the incident happened. So do you have some sort of figure in mind of what the costs for you have been for those 20 weeks?
We want to suggest something that feels fair. Hey.
I really would like to know how much your whānau is out of pocket.
Well, we worked it out, and like when we put everything together, it was about just over four grand, which is, you know, it's been hard to fill that gap.
And would you like Eric to pay you the $4 grand?
Well, when we talked about it, I mean, you know, we know Eric, and Eric's been our mate for years, and we know the situation he's in, and we know that, you know, he doesn't make huge amounts of money either. And although we would like something from you, you know, in order to feel like there's an apology there, we didn't think that.
$4 grand's too much.
Yeah.
To ask from Eric.
Eric, you've heard the costs from Sally and Jim, the $4,000. Are you prepared to pay them $4,000?
Absolutely, absolutely. More than willing.
Great. And what we'll have to look at is how you're going to pay that.
Yeah.
And is that going to be a difficulty for you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd have to pay it off, but I might not be paying rent for a while, so might help.
Okay, so there's ways that you can sort out of being able to pay that money off, because that's another thing that we will tie down before we leave today. We'll actually, I'd like Sally and Jim to leave knowing exactly how that money's going to be paid and the time frame that they can realistically expect that money. But before we do that, Sally and Jim, Eric is indicating that he is prepared to pay the $4,000. Would you be happy to receive that over a period of time, or how would you want to get that? We obviously have to be realistic in regard to the circumstances that Eric has.
Maybe if there was like some amount that he felt he could pay at the beginning, and then, you know, we could make an arrangement from there or something, that would really help us out.
Yeah.
How does that sound to you, Eric?
Yeah, that sounds great. I can have a look at it, and I should be able to get you something like decent straight away.
Any idea of how much that might be?
Probably like something over $500, $700, something like that. Okay. For a start.
Great. Okay, good. So far we've got to the stage then where you have agreed to a stopping violence program. You've agreed to some alcohol and drug counselling of some sort, and you've also agreed to reparation of $4,000. I'm just wondering whether there are any other outstanding issues that remain for people in terms of what they think would be a fair outcome.
I don't know how Jim feels, but for me, like, I would really like to have Eric come to our home. I don't know if we could maybe arrange a dinner or something like that. Like, I'd like him to see us with Katie and, you know, and Tone as well.
I'd love to.
Okay, now we're just summarising where we're at, and I'm just going to let you know what I'm in the process of writing down here in the agreement. So far, I've recorded that the parties have agreed that Eric will attend a stopping violence program and also alcohol and drug counselling. And Kitty has indicated that she is prepared to be the contact person for that.
Yes.
Great. Okay. The second item on the agreement, Eric, is that you've said you're prepared to pay $4,000 in costs, and you've agreed that you'll pay $700. The best way probably was if you pay that to me, I'll give you a receipt, and then I'll make sure that the payment goes on to Sally and Jim. That way we know the payment's been made. And then what about the balance of the $3,300?
Weekly direct credit, or...
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what sort of size amounts?
I was thinking $100 a week, if that was all right.
How does $100 a week sound to you people?
That sounds really good.
Yeah.
That's really good, thank you.
Yeah.
It will make a big difference to us.
Great, okay. When do you think you'd be able to get those payments started, Eric?
Next week.
Okay. And then the third thing I think we need to record is the fact that you have made an apology in the meeting, and that I understand that it has been received as genuine.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. So we'll record that you made an apology that was sincerely accepted. Now, a copy of the meeting report I will send out to you, Eric, and I'll also send a copy out to you, Sally, and Jim. You should get that in about 2 weeks' time. And then I'll also do, I think sentencing's about 6 weeks' time, isn't it, Eric? So I would also do an update report for the judge on how far Eric's got with the programs that he started, and also with the payments that you've made, so that the judge knows right at the time of sentencing exactly where you're at. Okay? Just wondering if there's any sort of final statements that anybody would like to say. We're sort of at the stage now where we're wrapping the meeting up, and if there's any final comments. Eric, would you have any?
I'd just like to just really humbly thank everyone for all their input and stuff. I kind of came here thinking that this was going to be horrible, and it was at times. But it might just turn out to be one of the best things that's ever happened to me.
Tony, any final comment from you?
I can't say I thought there was going to be a positive outcome from the beginning with the feelings that were in this room when we began this meeting, but I'm just really happy that we could sort it out with a bit of outside help, sort out our whānau, so it's a good positive step for us all, so choice.
Sally and Jim, I'd like to give you a chance to say something as well. Perhaps you first, Sally.
Okay. I didn't know how this would go either. Like, I think we were both really nervous about coming in and seeing Eric. That was a hard thing, but I'm really glad that we got the chance to talk it through and to say some of the stuff that's been getting us. And I think that this will be a positive thing for us, you know, that we've been able to do this and that we're able to maybe move on. I hope that this is that turning point for you that you talked about. I think it would be so cool if something good came out of this bad situation.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you, Trish, for the initial phone call.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, I was just like Eric, but reluctant to come here. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Kitty. For some reason, I've got a smile on my face, so it must be a good thing that while we came here. Thank you, bro.
Great. Well, thank you all very much. I think you've really done a sterling job. Tony has offered to conclude our meeting with a karakia, so thank you, Tony.
Kia ora tātou. Ki noi tātou. Kia tau anō, kia tātou katoa, te ata whai o tō tātou ariki, ai ukuraiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhi ngātahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ai anei ake tonu atu. Amen.
Kia ora tātou.
Kia ora tātou.
Yeah.
Toi.